Greetings, listeners, and welcome to The Spiritual Experience, a show where we share stories of life, love, and redemption for all of humanity on Earth. So sit back and enjoy. Try to identify with the speakers and not compare. Don't forget to subscribe on all podcast platforms. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. What's up, everybody? We're back. Spiritual Experience. Let's get this show on the road. I hope everybody's doing good. And, hope you guys been enjoying the show. You know where to find us on Spotify, Apple, everywhere else. I don't know. There's like so many, you upload your shit in one place and then it gets distributed everywhere and all of that kind of stuff. But, it's been quite a ride, and I really appreciate all of you guys, all the support. I've had a very interesting week. It's been pretty good. Let me see what's going on here. What do we got? Yeah, man. You got all these, when you look at your stats, and I don't look at them totally for ego purposes, but, Yeah, man, I don't know. There's somebody in India, or there are people in India who are listening, the country of India. Shout out to my boy Patrick. He's out there in Japan. That's got to be him. And I love him so much, man. I'm fucking so proud of him. That guy was he was just a chubby kid with glasses and a fucked up haircut. And now he's doing it. And I'm proud. And he's evolving, just like the rest of us. We're doing it a little bit at a time, man. What do you want? Man, you can't put 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag. But he's out there trying to win, and we support him, and we love him. And that's it. And whoever we is, that's who we the fuck is. All right. Yeah, so interesting week. I spent a couple of days with my boy Amber. We did a couple of interesting things. Buzzing around. Maybe we'll get into that in a little bit. But, man, I woke up this morning and, number one, it was, what was it, yesterday? Last night was this girl Alex's anniversary, and she's a fucking, I don't even know. She's like a young lady. She's like a young lady, and she just celebrated 5 years, and that was fucking dope. And it's nice to see the family there and everybody there, and her sister was there, and I had seen her sister at a bunch of other things, and that's always nice to see. And it made me think of my own sister, and then she had this speaker. I forgot the speaker's name, but the speaker was pretty fucking good. Good in the sense of, she was honest, and not just recovery honest, but honest with life and that kind of stuff. So that was dope. And then she was saying, whatever. Anyway, so point is that it was nice to be at a meeting, see all my people. There was another guy in the meeting and at the end of the meeting, they had which is normally not at anniversary meetings, but they had enough time that people were sharing from the floor a little bit. I raised my hand and said some stuff because, when I see all these families and everything together, sometimes, I think about my sister who's not with us anymore on Earth, and I love her, man. I do. I love her a lot. And, yeah, man, it's fucking, yeah. It's, I don't say it's sad. It is sad, but in a way of there's a separation, when you lose somebody close, to lose a sibling or whatever. So yes, I was kind of going through that, and I even mentioned that, not to make it about me, but I was like, yo, you guys, you got your sister, you need to be lucky, even if you don't like them, and because if they somehow are not here anymore, that sibling, you're no longer So you don't have any siblings, and everybody periodically in your life they'll ask you. They'll be like, "Oh, do you have any brothers or sisters?" And then you got to say, "Yes, I had a sister, and she passed away." You know, and then it turns into, "Oh," and then you're like, "Yeah, once I made my peace with it in the sense that I learned how to live with it, and it's not something you really get all the way over." And then periodically, you just you get these moments where you're just remembering your life, and it's like fond memories, and it's nice. Like I don't like pull these memories and these times out of my my brain and like fucking be sad. Like I just don't. I feel like it's almost like reliving, and then just being like, wow, man, that was such an awesome time. And then I say to myself, well, how can I have an awesome time today with the people who I love, So that, that's like where my brain went. But either way, there was this kid in a meeting, and this is the second time this has happened this week. One in a meeting and one somewhere else. Where like, I said something, and this kid was like, "Oh my God, I've been listening to you in my car." I was like, "Oh shit," that somebody somebody recognized who I was just by the sound of my voice. So that was nice, and I almost didn't really know what to say except for fucking thank you. I shook his hand or whatever, and that was nice, and and I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the messages that I get that we're helping people out. Because we get a bunch, whatever. We're not world famous or any of that stuff, and that's good because we don't really. Not saying I don't want to be famous, but everything is happening organically, and which is nice because it's real, and it's great. So, and then then this morning I get up and whatever, and I go on social media, and then there's like another like RIP of somebody. Hold on, let me take off my hat because I have these headphones over my hat, and it's very uncomfortable. So let me put these back on. Oh man, sounds a lot better. Yeah. So there was like an RIP for this kid that I grew up with, and it was sad, man, just to see that. You're like, oh man, motherfucker, because I'm 40. I just turned 43, and he was a couple of years older than me. I don't know. His name was Pete. Peter Afan, if that's how you pronounce his last name. It's funny because I always say it's funny because it is funny. When we were growing up, we were on the wrestling team together, and he went to a different school. He lived on the other side of Spring Valley, and he was like this little Puerto Rican, I guess. I'm pretty sure he was Puerto Rican. Maybe he was Dominican. I don't know what he was. He's definitely Hispanic or something. And and he was like he was a little guy, but he was always in shape, and he was always fly as fucking hell, and he always had like he's somebody who took care of himself. Like he's like the type of guy that you can get into his car at any time and it will be fucking clean. I'm not really that guy. I'm not a super slob, but I definitely need to take better care of my stuff. It's different when I had El Camino. That shit was always crispy. But even the car I drive around now, I have an Explorer, and I kind of work out of it a little bit. A lot, actually. I work out of it, so it's a little bit messy, and I should really, I have a free car wash because I went 10 times already. And so I'm going to probably use that. And, either way. So this guy passed away. I don't know how he did. And then, instinctively, you always, I don't know about you, but me sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And not like in a, and I'm so used to, because of being in recovery and because of being in this life for a long time, I'm not used to people dying on accident. I mean, yes, on accident, okay. But like I'm used to people either A, taking their own life, or B, doing drugs and overdosing. So that has been the way people have died in my life in the last whatever, 15, 18 years, 20 years, however long, you know? And then you get to a point where when it's somebody that's outside of the rooms, you know, you're just like, okay, well, I ask myself, like, does it really matter? Doesn't matter how somebody passed away. It doesn't matter. They're no longer here. Me knowing it is not going to bring them back, and is not going to bring. It's not going to. Me knowing how somebody passed away sometimes really is not going to bring anything more than just judgment, right? That's what it's going to bring. When it doesn't matter, and I'm happy that like I don't really think like that anymore all the way. He was a young kid, and he'll be missed. And I know he had a wife and a family and whatever. I remember he was, I didn't see him, and whatever. I go on his Facebook page and I just, told the story of how not a story, but I guess a couple of memories of how I knew him. Nobody's gonna be on social media like fuck that motherfucker, and I'm sure you can't make everybody happy, so there's always going to be a little bit of that floating around. But, so yeah, it was nice. Yeah, so we used to be on a wrestling team together, and he was a couple of years older than me, but he was like smaller than me. And we used to wrestle a lot. We used to hang out a lot, man. And I would see him around, and I remember and this is the thing that I shared on there was that we had these weird, sometimes you think to yourself like, bro, some of the coaches that we had in wrestling, they were like a little bit weird, And you know what I mean when I say weird. Like they fucking roll around with you and shit. Like, bro, I would not be rolling around with no fucking, I would not be rolling around with no junior high school kids on a fucking mat. It's so bizarre, Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. There was one guy who was like, I forgot his name, whatever. But he was a little chubby white guy who looked like, he drank like 2 Bud Ice cans before starting practice. But he knew his shit, man. And Peter's first name, and nobody called him by his first name. His first name was Sylvester, And with so the coaches, they know your full name because you're wrestling in school. And I don't know why, man. This coach used to call him Sly. Like, yeah, Sly. And we used to be like, bro, man, like, that's crazy. Everybody's calling him Peter. You're calling him Sly because you want to be cool. But either way, it was that was a good memory. And we used to wrestle together and hang out. We'd smoke weed and shit and, all of that kind of stuff. And he was never like really a negative kid. I remember when I was discovering more of the, alternative grunge, whatever. I don't know how old we were. Maybe in high school. I remember when I was in junior high school, I remember people were like, when somebody found out that I listened to like rock and roll music, they're like, oh my God, you listen to heavy metal? I'm like, bro, yeah. Like, it was such segregation back then. Now kids, they can be free and you can listen to whatever you want. But in our age, like, like you listen to rap or you listen to this or you listen to that. Like you couldn't just, you couldn't listen to everything without explaining yourself. Like we had a couple of dudes, hung out with everybody, man. But anyway, so like, yeah, so if you're a black kid and you like heavy metal, they be like, you're trying to be white, and black kids would fucking abuse you over that. I'm not black, so I don't know, but except for the fact that I used to see it with some of my own friends, which was fucking stupid. I never understood that, I never understood that at all. But either way, so yeah, so, and as a teenager, like I changed the way I looked all the fucking time. I just did because I was a teenager, and that's what you do. Either way, it had been however long, 6 months, a year that I didn't see Pete because I'm running in the street, he's running in the other street or whatever he's doing. And I see him out somewhere, and I have like my whole, I guess, for lack of a better term, my whole like Nirvana outfit on, right? I got like these like Jenko jeans or something, maybe, and like blonde hair and all kind of shit going on. And then he looked at me, he's like, "Oh man, not you too." Like, because like it was funny. And then we fucking hugged it out. And then we went and chilled or whatever, because that's the kind of kid he was, Yeah, but he always looked crisp. He always had like these polos on that he would wear all the time since we were kids, man. He was into how he looked. And that was nice. And he was a great guy. And then when we got older, I don't know, you lose touch with people. You lose touch. For me, like, I lose touch with people, but I don't lose love for people. Like, I never didn't not love him or anybody else, like, at all. I just didn't. And, I just didn't. I had a thing. If I hated you, listen, there are people that I hate from 6th grade, and I don't really like them now if I saw them for no reason. Like, you're old school, like, bro, I don't know, I don't like this guy's face. And that was it. There was this kid that we were jealous of in 5th grade or something. I don't know, something happened to him. Whatever. Either way. So I don't want to say his name because I don't want to say his fucking name. But he had like a stroke or something when we were like 5th grade, 6th grade. Or he's a year older than me, he's in 6th grade. Bro, this kid, and this is back then. We're talking about early 90s. No, late 80s, maybe 88, 89. This fucking kid got to meet Michael Jordan because of that. And as kids, you're like hating. And meanwhile, as an adult, like, oh my God, like a 12-year-old kid had a stroke or something, had some kind of physical ailment, and he got to meet Michael Jordan. But then when you're a kid, you're like, bro, this guy got to meet, and that's what he was known as. Oh, that was the kid that got to meet Michael Jordan. That he was like, blah, 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 And on top of that, he wasn't fucking very nice. He wasn't a nice fucking kid. And who knows how nice I wasn't even nice at that age, and I didn't have a fucking stroke. I didn't have one. I was still like just a little prick, and here this kid is, and he has a stroke or whatever, and he gets to meet Michael Jordan, and we're all like, fuck him. I don't even know how nice I would be if that happened to me. So yeah, so there was him, and then like a few other kids, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so I didn't like him. And like whatever, but Pete, he was always a great guy, man. And so that other kid, the kid that met Michael Jordan, if I saw him today, even if I recognized him, I don't know if I would say hello. There are kids that I went to high school with. Like, they have these high school reunions, and all these kids that went to like Pomona Junior High, and it was the same thing. Like, I didn't really like them. They didn't really like me either, and nobody knows why. There was some of them that there was some of them like, that I knew before high school that I loved, but I never really met a lot of these. There were a lot of them, they were in different, they were in a different, just brain, a different mindset than me at that age. So I didn't like them, for no fucking reason. But they didn't really fuck with me either. So that was nice too. But they all played basketball. They all played basketball and football. By the time I got to high school, football was over for me. I never played basketball. I don't know what's up. I'm like, yeah. Hold on. Sorry, I'm adjusting these headphones because I can't. I don't know, maybe I'm wrapping them too tight. I can't fucking hear myself in one ear, and then I think I'm having a fucking stroke, right? From the Arizona energy drink and the fucking the vaccine giving me a stroke and some brain fog when it's really just the shit's not plugged in correctly. Okay, either way. Yeah, so I didn't really like these kids. And that's okay. But Pete, I loved him, you know. And then when I saw him again, I was an adult and I was going into a building in Williamsburg. And I roll up in there and guess who's the fucking doorman? It's him, you know. But the doorman not at the door, like he's at the desk. And it's a brand new high-rise building over there on the fucking water in Williamsburg. And we chopped it up for like a little while, you know, because being a door person, being a door human, right? Soon, you know, dogs are going to get offended, you know, whatever. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, so he was a doorman, and bro, it's a union job in the city, and you get paid fucking bread, and you get benefits, and you get all this stuff, and then during the holidays, what? If you're the daytime doorman, dude, you can get like 20, 30 grand in cash. It's crazy. My nephew is doorman, but he's a nighttime doorman, and he still makes bands, and that's a perfect job, like, you know, but he wants to switch to days or whatever, and I love him so much, man. I love my nephew. He's the fucking best, this kid. I swear to God, man. I just, like, I want to hang out with him all the time. But then I want him to be, like, you know, I want him to be how I want him to be. Imagine if I saw him, like, being human with his friends and drinking and playing video games and, you know, doing whatever. But, yeah, I love him. Either way, so when I saw Pete, it was nice. It was nice, and we talked, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I have a house in Sunset," and he was living out there in Sunset Park, and you know all this stuff. And then I don't know what happened, but then eventually, I think he ended up losing that job. Not losing that job. I don't know if did you lose that job? He lost that. Something happened. Even when I was there, the few times that I would go, like. There was, you know, there were these, the people who, what do you call it? Oh, the tenants or the owners or whatever. Dude, they would like fucking harass him to do shit for them that he wasn't supposed to do. Like whatever, hold packages, let people up, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to comply, but he was just trying to be cool. And I think, but I don't know. And I'm sorry if I'm disrespecting him. But I think he got in trouble for that because, like, he was trying to be a good fucking guy and he was trying to help people. Because one time when I was leaving there, like, this one guy was, like, kind of barking at him a little bit, and Pete was just like, bro, I'm trying. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like, facilitate that, whatever you want. Like, he's not a fucking servant, man. He's a little human. I would say little human. He was still the same size from high school, you know? Maybe he grew like an inch. So if I'm, like, 5'5", he was, like, 5'4" and 3/4. But I loved him, man. I loved him. So, and that's what's nice, man. When you have good memories with people and then you don't see them and then you can hold on to those. And even if, here's the thing, even if they're not the same person or even if something else has transpired in between, you don't know what somebody's doing in their life or whatever. But like, I can, I can just remember when, and then hold on to that good love energy and then re-experience it again with them, even if it's just, for an hour or 30 minutes or like, cause you can't be diving back into everybody's life from when you were a kid. You just can't, but you can do it. Like that's what I use like social media for. That's why I use like Facebook for. Like, I love Facebook, and, the younger people are like, yeah, Facebook's for old people. I'm like, yeah, because we're not, who the fuck is on Facebook trying to floss or trying to front? It's not like Instagram. You go on my Instagram, all you're going to see is food and, I don't know, food, maybe my cats, some of that stuff. And, yeah, and love. I don't know. Yeah, it's not a place for me to posture online. I didn't, it's just not, it's not a place. So, yeah, and that's such a wonderful thing. And that's what I do online. I do that with, my homegirl that another homegirl that I grew up with, this girl Brandy. Dude, I fucking, you see glimpses of what's going on in people's life, and then I can do one of two things. I can be like, hey, oh, some people like, oh, they're only showing you the highlight reel or whatever. They're not showing you the whole picture. Like, but who fucking needs to know the whole picture to support somebody? Like, is that what you really need? Like, I'm not judging myself based on I'm not feeling like shit about myself. I'm like, I can use it to say, yo, that's awesome. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm happy I know you. And then in my mind, I reach back, I'm like, oh, I remember when, we were kids and this and that and whatever. Hold on a second. Somebody fucking buzzing? Who the hell is that? What is that? I don't know. I'm not letting anybody up. I don't know who that is. Stand by 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. We're back. That was a FedEx guy trying to get in the building. Whatever. Yeah, it's not my thing. Either way, yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I could go and, I can go and see that kind of stuff. And, yeah, I'm motivated by other people in a positive way. And then when somebody is having a bad time and they're sharing it on the computer, I'm like, okay, well, how can I help? If I can help, Sometimes people, they don't want help. Sometimes people, they just need a place to vent, And that's okay, too. Look, we have this show together, and I have a lot of places where I can let stuff out. And there's a lot of places where I go where people help me, But not everybody fucking has that. So, yeah. So that's like a wild thing, to I don't know, to be there and just be like negative Nancy over that kind of stuff. Or to be like, I guess, like, I grew out of being judgmental. I don't know when I did, but I know that I did. So there's that. Anyway, so yeah, so my homegirl Brandy, I'm like, she's there, and on a computer, she's doing a video of her doing some CrossFit shit, and she's like my age. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so inspiring. Fucking good for you, man. That is so awesome. She's doing like, she wasn't doing deadlifts. I forgot what she was doing. I can't remember, but whatever. Either way, she's a freaking champ. I know what it's like to battle yourself to try and stay healthy. And she sings in these bands or whatever, these like 80s chick bands, and she does freaking, she's a realtor. She had a couple of businesses too. Like, yeah, man, she's living her life. And that's like so fucking, yeah, and that's so good. Maybe I should tell her to come on and just tell her story. She's not an addict or an alcoholic, but she's a human being, and we're all humans, so that would be nice. So yeah, so it's nice to it's nice to not even have that energy of judgment. My other boy, McGregor, Mac DeBouche, yeah, he did body transformation in the last 2 years, and he's fucking jacked. And not even jacked like, 60 pounds over how he's supposed to look and all muscled out, but he is toned and he's fit. And he's been posting these videos, and you can see the hate. People that are like, why? How do you be, I don't know. I'm not going to say how can you be jealous, because that's a stupid thing for me to even say. That's like a judgmental thing for me to say. But hopefully you're working on jealousy, or we're all working on it a little bit. There's nobody that really has anything that I want. There's people that have things that I aspire to have, but I'm very happy with everything that I got. And, I got dealt a pretty good deck of cards, and I play the hand that I have. And, that's it. That's what I do. I play the hand that I have. So there with that, you know, yeah, so it's sad. R.I.P. Pete. And, I said a little story on his page, and I try not to scroll through to find out what the whole thing was. I did it for like maybe a minute. I was like, bro, it don't matter, man. It doesn't matter, And then couple that in with last night, and a powerful meeting, and that's what I shared. I was like, dude, I lost my sister, man. So if you got yours, you need to count your blessing. If you still have your siblings, that means there is time. There is time. Because it's not that I sit here and wish my sister was here. She was suffering, man. I don't want her to be here the way she was. I just don't, man. It was like very, towards the end, it was like very, it was just sad. And there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do. When somebody doesn't want to get the help that they need to get, and they're, they have this denial, and they have this mental, these like walls, these like mental walls, and they weren't accepting help, or they don't accept help. And then inevitably, the physical will be no more. And if you believe in God the way that I do, the Lord, he'll be like, listen, I don't want any of my kids down there suffering more than they need to, I guess. And he'll just be like, okay, this is it. Now you come here and you hang out with me. And you get to live with everybody else in their heart with good memories, and it actually motivates me in some ways to be better, to have my time more useful. I don't regret arguments or any of this other shit that I had with her. I don't, like I just don't, like those things, like they happened. But, I want to spend my time now in a loving way, in a loving way. And that's very important. That's very important to me. So things matter, but they're not important. Like, it's nice that I have a couple of things. It's nice that I have some, a semblance of financial stability. I have what I have. I don't know, the part of that stuff really is, depending on your own perspective or your own goals or whatever, it's subjective. I think that's the right word. We're like, listen, we can pay all of our bills. We invest a little bit of money where we can. We're trying to make these other moves, and we do our so that way. Like yesterday, my youngest, they went to some pop-up shop in Manhattan. They did that with their mama, and it was like one of those things where the line was wrapped around the block, and and it was perfect timing because I had to go for a run. I had to go for a run. I'm preparing, as you all know, for these for like half marathon at the end of next month, and that was so. This week I've been, for the last, I'd say 2 weeks, I've been a little bit at a time, just preparing myself, running, but like building myself up. So what did I do yesterday? I ran like a portion of the course, and it's nice. It's downtown. I didn't go crazy, and I was just, it made me realize how out of shape I was. So I ran, I'm looking up on Strava right now. Strava. What does it say? It says afternoon run, 6.75 miles. So a little under 7 miles. And I was doing like 10-minute miles, 10-minute and 17-second miles, which is nice. Does it say like elevation or anything? Yeah, elevation gain 226 feet. It says max elevation 130 feet. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, so that's what's cool. Yeah, so, they're doing that in the city. I'm doing what I need to do. Then they come back, and then, you know, we have free time is what I'm saying. Free time to do stuff that we love to do. And then afterwards we went, and after that run, I took them to this little diner that sometimes this is the first time that the food was like, meh. But the other times I went, it was good, but I had burgers when I was there. Because I was just saying to myself, listen, I just ran all this shit. I need to carb up. So I wanted to have some pancakes. I love pancakes. I love them so much that I purposefully don't eat them all the time. So when I do, it's a nice treat. And I drown them in syrup and whatever. And if you just ran 7 miles, you can eat friggin' pancakes. That's just how it goes, man. Even if it's break even, I'm good with it. So, yeah, so I did that, and then went, smoked a cigar, went to a meeting, blah, 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 blah. The meeting was awesome. Anniversary was awesome. Speakers were awesome. And it was an emotional meeting. You know, there were people crying and shit in there, from good stuff, from bad stuff. And it was nice. You know, it was nice. And yeah, so then I go home. I do my thing, but Amr had his dog in the friggin' meeting, which was like stealing the show because his dog is fucking incredible. And it was just a few days before that, me and him, we took this kid to detox, this other kid. I don't know, I was on my way to the gym, and he was like, oh, you know, you want to do a 12-step call or whatever, which for those of you who don't know, that means that somebody's ready to get help or any of that other stuff. And that's cool. You know, there's always points where people are in desperation, and everybody who's in recovery has these stories where like, okay, my last day that I was out there, A, B, C, X, Y, Z happened, and then now here I am, you know. So we tried to be that for the guy, and I had the free time. That was on, I think, what day was that? I was like Thursday maybe. Yeah, I was on my way to the gym. I was like, dude, I'm going to the sauna. It's the middle of the afternoon. Everybody's doing what they need to do. The machine's oiled up and ready. People are working. Money's being made. Everybody's happy. So we go, and he's like, oh, I'll meet you in the sauna, 30 minutes. I said, perfect. So we chopped it up in the sauna, did a little steam, and then we say, okay, let's go get this guy, man. We got him, you know, we got him to the hospital, Coney Island. They don't have a detox there, and there's a little bit of, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to say, I wouldn't say red tape, but there's a little bit of nobody knows what anybody else is doing. So the lady, when we got there, she was very helpful, and it was incredible. And then, you know, she said, oh, we're going to do this stuff. He's going to see the doctor right away. And the guy doesn't have ID, doesn't have insurance, he doesn't have nothing, right? And see the doctor. They check him out, whatever. He tells them the story. They're like, okay, listen, the person who coordinates, because surprisingly, they don't have a detox there anymore. I think because of COVID, the shit shut down, and it's very sad because you used to just be able to bring people there and they would help them. So she's like, listen, the guy who coordinates all this stuff, he's not around. Come back in the morning, you know, and they fill out all the paperwork. So whatever, we get the kid a place to stay overnight. I buy him a 6-pack of beers and a couple of sleeping pills so that way he doesn't get dope sick because the guy's on dope. He's not even on dope. This kid is straight up on fentanyl, which is deadly. And yeah, and I'm happy I got clean and sober when I did because the fentanyl's in everything right now. And that stuff is taking people's lives, and it's not a frigging game. So, whatever. I was like, dude, here's a 6-pack of beer, some of these Unison pills, just to hold you over until tomorrow. You know, he wasn't going anywhere. Whatever. Get him out of the hotel in the morning. Meet him back at the hospital. He goes in, and that's it. So the initial lady was like, oh, we're going to do all this intake shit. Then we're going to find a bed for him. Then we're going to transport him to the place. Now there's another guy there in the morning who's like, no, we don't do any of that stuff. We'll see what we can do. Kind of like gray area. There was too much vagueness, but it was saying enough things that we were just like, okay, we did all we could. Anyway, They don't send him anywhere. They don't find a bed for him anywhere. They put him back out on the block. They give him a name, or they give him a place to show up to, like an outpatient methadone clinic, which who the fuck wants, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like the guy needs to he don't need methadone. He doesn't need to be on a maintenance program. You know, he needs to be detoxed. And then the decision is made whether he needs maintenance. And it was just I was so angry for a minute. I was like, you know what? Whatever, man. We did everything we could. And they released him back into the wild. The wild. And he ends up back on Manhattan, uptown. Who knows what's going to happen for him. But we did everything we could. And the best part is that I didn't think, even looking back now, that was one wasted minute of my day. Like, not one wasted minute. And I wasn't even invested in the result. I was just like, listen, the Lord put this stuff in my path, and I'm having this moment and these times, and this, if I couldn't do it, I couldn't do it. I wasn't going to drop everything. You know, I just wasn't. And the good thing was I didn't have to. It's very rare that I have to drop everything. I do that kind of stuff, yeah, for my family or whatever. But, and even then, you know, my life isn't like that where there's emergencies going on. I was sharing about that, I think, in a meeting. Like, I'm just happy there's no emergencies. You know, my life was full of them everywhere, emergencies, you know. There was always something burning down that I had to put out. And that was, you know, yeah, it's not the case anymore. So I was happy that we did what we had to do. And hopefully this kid is okay. And the kid, you know, he's not a kid, he's a young person or whatever, a young man. Maybe he's in his 30s. I think everybody's a kid. You guys know the deal by now. But I guess a couple of weeks or a week or so before, you know, he's been out in the street homeless for however long. He's not even from New York. He's from fucking Arizona and California. Finds himself here, however he finds himself here. This is not a good place for out-of-state people to be homeless. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, why are you even out here? You should be in California. At least the weather's nice. It's fucking brick over here. You know, there's a different breed of people as far as, like, you know, I don't know what the street life is out there, but who cares? Either way, yeah. And somebody was, I guess, running around shooting homeless people or whatever. I don't know what the deal was, but his running buddy that he's been out in the street with for however long was killed. And that's what woke him up, like, yo, I need to get clean. You know, not that he's dirty, disheveled, and having a bad time. It's like, no, he needs to get clean because his boy got killed. And sometimes that's just what it takes. That's just what it takes to be willing. It doesn't mean even you'll put in the work. And that was the other thing that I was talking about at the meeting when I shared. We always talk about this one day at a time stuff, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but too fucking bad. I took 2 Pfizer shots and I have brain fog. So I'm losing my marbles. Anyway, so yeah, no, it's a lifetime. Your life, whatever your life is, it doesn't have to be recovery, you know, which is whatever. Because recovery is like, yeah, one day at a time, you know. But no, life is, your life is a lifelong commitment. Your happiness is a lifelong commitment. Your sanity, your serenity is a lifelong commitment, which you execute one day at a time. So every day, your job is to get up and execute. That's your friggin' job. You get up, you execute. That's the thing, you know. And if you execute, what I found is that I execute with actions that are only bringing me closer to other people and closer to God and closer to love and closer. I do those, you know. And then my life is filled with all of that stuff. Because the truth is that, you know, between my sister, between Pete, between anybody else, like, dude, we don't know how long the show is going to be. I don't want to have like these regrets that I spent my time being negative. Yeah, or more time than was necessary. I think nobody stays positive all the time. Even me. Nobody stays positive all the time. But I am positive. You know, I've worked and learned and experienced enough loss in life that I'm positive most of the time. I'd say at least 90%. And the only times that I'm not positive, the times that I'm negative is just when I'm trying to control people or things or whatever, where I'm like, bro, these people, they don't fucking comply, you know? That's the times when I'm negative. And, you know, so if it's 90-10 or even 80-20, bro, I'm winning. I'm winning because I'm a happy guy. I'm a happy guy. So there's that. So, you know, I hope all of you, I hope all of you are taking all of this information and maybe putting it to use if you don't know how or don't know why or whatever. You know, this show, our show, is to do one of two things: either to help you get to where you need to go, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that stuff. So either to help you get to where you got to go, or to give you confirmation that you are doing the right thing already, and for you to keep going, and for you to help other people. That's the whole thing, is we just got to help each other, man. And you don't have to go running around looking for people to help, you know, because I don't do that either at all, right? I don't do that. I don't run looking for people to help. I just help whoever's in my path, and I kind of just try to mosey on through. And I think that's the best thing for me, is to just do that. Otherwise, when I start running around and looking for people to help, it's really, I'm just trying to get out of myself. I'm trying to run from myself. And then when they don't do exactly what I say or how I say, when they're human and they don't listen and they don't do everything I tell them to do, then I get resentful. So I stop doing that. You know, I say, hey, man, this is what, you know, this is what I do. This is what we're doing. And that's the fucking deal. So, all right, guys, I love you all. We'll see you on the flip side. I hope you guys have been enjoying the shows. We just published Roberto's episode, and I love that guy, man, a lot. And he's been with me since, I've been with him since he came around. I guess I have a little bit more time than him. I don't know how much more, maybe a year, whatever, 8 months, 6 months, who knows. But yeah, man, it's all love. It's fucking all love. Okay, guys. R.I.P. Pete. Peace. Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on The Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook, where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.